Good evening. Welcome to another Belt Buckles and Boots live stream, aka the Big Sunday live streams, aka 26th North Carolina live streams. Brackets Rebellion Miniatures. Hello, welcome. I'm just going to triple check everything's working. I always do that. And if I don't do it, it's usually because something's not working and I've been caught out. But let's see. Sounds like it's working. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Yes, as I said, this is about Buckles and Boots live stream, where we're going to be taking a look at Painted Up 26th North Carolina. I'd like to say a massive thanks to everyone watching this live. We've got a couple of you in the chat already. And as always, everyone watching this back on YouTube, a massive thanks as well. I really appreciate it. I'll start off with some more thanks. We're going to massive thanks to Rebellion Miniatures, who sent me a load of miniatures, which we're going to be painting today. So thank you very much. And then yeah, we get on to it. As always, we have our socials of I am on lots of socials: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. And then we have a couple of community groups. We've got one on Facebook under King Matt the Superior community tab, or community page, as well as an actual page for King Matt the Superior. And then we have our YouTube community. So I'd always say, please do share what you're working on and what you're proud of and what you enjoy doing on the community tabs, and we try check them out at the end of every stream to see what you guys have been up to. I try post when I can. I'm a lot better at, I say a lot better. I am technically a lot better than I was because I never used to do it. But I do it recently. For example, I did some stuff last night, so I put that on the community. Anyway, welcome in. Welcome in. So it's warm, but not too warm. I've been a bit sunburned today. I've got big water. Anyone watching this in the UK, please hydrate. I'm trying my best. But yeah, so it took me ages to get around and getting these primed, these Rebellion miniatures. We built them up last stream. You can go out and check that out on the channel. It's under the Big Sunday live stream. I need to write this down of what it actually what the playlist is. Big American Civil War Sunday live streams, I think is what it's called. I can check. So you can check out what we've been up to, not necessarily just last week, but all the previous live streams. We are favouring live streams at the moment over sort of normal videos, but we will do normal videos as well when we can. But yeah, if you want to see us build up some Rebellion miniatures, please go check that out. We actually had the sculptor themselves in the live stream last week, which was cool. So we got to ask them lots of questions. But yeah, so I finally got around to priming them up today. I unfortunately ran out of primer halfway through priming some other miniatures. So my Battle Cat miniatures that have been sat there for a long time. I tried to prime them up as well, but I ran out halfway. So, but the important ones are done. That's what counts. Does 2 bottles of wine count as hydrating, says Dave? Absolutely not. Technically, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, Dave. I can only talk from my experience of drinking beer and whatnot, and that tends to shrivel me up like a prune. So I'm going to assume maybe wine does the same. Who knows? But yeah, let's jump down to the table. I've not actually got anything on the table quite yet. I have actually. I have got some things on the table. I've just started working on some bases for my signals. So my signal core, I glued some rocks onto some bases. Ooh. So that's for our 2 signal teams. They're going to be mounted on top of these, where they're going to wave their flag. And then this is, if I can not drop it, Strong Vincent's base. So he's going to be stood on top of this rock. And then at the moment, I've got a skirmishing Union soldier from some ones I painted back ages ago, so I'm going to stick him on there, I think. But then I remembered I want a flag on this base because I'm trying to get all my Union groups and flags, and because he's a brigade commander, he has a brigade flag of 5th Corps, 5th Corps, 1st Division, 3rd Brigade, I think it was. For Strong Vince's Brigade at Gettysburg, in case anyone doesn't know what I'm on about. Anyway, so this is his base. So I'm probably going to put a mounted, not mounted, sort of a flag bearer on foot. So there might be 3 people on this base. We're going to just have a play with it. I thought it'd be nice to have someone skirmishing, crouching behind a rock. But maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. So yeah, that's actually what I started working on. Again, I primed them up this morning, or a bit earlier. I thought I'd just chuck some dark grey on there. I'm thinking about hitting it with a wash, just to get in all the recesses. A black wash, and then look at probably dry brushing up as a grey. I don't know. I didn't want to go to the stereotypical sort of grey rock. I was thinking about going for something different, but I don't know yet. But anyway, so yeah, that's maybe we'll chuck them aside. And then I'll tell you what I actually did do as well, sort of. A while ago, a few streams ago, we painted up these guys. I didn't quite finish them, and I said I'd finish them off stream. I never did. So they're almost finished, which is I've just got to highlight the gold, but they're now based up properly, ready to be officially based. And then my old Studio Historia stuff, which needs basing now. They're all ready to go. So we did that as well. So I've been busy as well. I mean, I'll show you a bit later on. Which way have I got to turn so you can see? These here, all my mounted command and whatnot, they are 95% based. I put, so I've just put General Lee on a base. I'm changing his flag. This was just a spare chap I had who I glued that flag on. I'm taking that off because I have Lee's headquarters flag. So that'll be on there. But he's all based up now. I know I said previously that my divisional and corps and army command will have 4 models to a base. 2 things. I didn't have a 4th model that I would have put on there, and it can be a bit cluttered. So, but I mean, at a quick glance, we know who this is. We know it's Lee. It's going to have his headquarters flag. So no worries about 4 figures. So he's not fully based, but all my other commands I've done recently are based. I just got to just knock off any sort of loose material and stuff, and they're ready to be boxed up. I've just got to go through my box, my storage, and just put them in the right place. So I started painting up, started priming up a load of these Battle Cat miniatures as well, but like I said, I've got these Battle Cat chaps, but I've run out of primer. Sykes 5th Corps, Barnes's 1st Brigade. Oh, David's correct. Oh, hang on, David's retyping. 5th Corps, 1st Division, 3rd Brigade is what I thought it was. The annoying thing is I don't have a flag for Strong Vincent, which is the only thing. Which is a shame. And then so I'll get these out because why not? I imagine these Battle Cat ones, unless something crops up, these Battle Cat ones will be probably the next ones we paint out. So yeah, we've got Buford's command. So I've got 6 figures, and I was thinking about maybe putting them all on the same base and have all the models, but I don't think I will. What I think I'm going to do is do Buford with his 3 command models. And then I didn't have a flag bearer, so I went through my bits box, and I found this chap here, who is just a dismounted cavalryman. But he had a pistol in one arm. What I did was cut it off, and I've just used a Perry plastic flag arm, so he's now a dismounted flag bearer, so he can hold a flag for Buford, which means these other 3 troopers here, I don't know what to do with them yet. I don't know what to do. They might just be rolled into something else. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway. Hello. Sorry, a few people have joined back in. Thomas, hello. I think I've said hello to you, Thomas, but I'm not sure. David, hello. Mark, hello. Tim, hello. Welcome in. And John Clark, welcome in. Welcome in, chaps. Hope you're doing well. As always, please do share what you've been working on. I was just going through just a little bit of waffling. I'm trying to stay hydrated. It's not as hot up as here as I thought it might be. But yeah, I've just been thirsty all weekend, and it's probably because I've not correctly hydrated all week. Oh no, I've already broken one of these Perry arms. Oh well. I've not been drinking enough water. I've been drinking lots of fluids, but just not H2O. I think that's my downside. Right, David's got back to us. Sykes is 5th Corps, Barnes is 1st Division, and Strong Vincent's 3rd Brigade. That's it. So I'm in 2 minds with it. I could look at buying the 5th Division, 5th Corps flag sheet from Flags of War for £10. I could look at buying that, which then gives me some sort of material. You know, I've kind of got some flags sat there to, if I want to do any more commands going forward now, because I know I've got 1st Corps, 1st Division, 1st and 2nd Brigade. I've got them for the Union. You know, maybe I'll do another Corps up and have it as Sykes. I mean, I've got Sykes, the model, from Perry's, so maybe I can look at just doing Sykes's Corps. So yeah, give me, or I just don't spend £10 and I spend £4.25 and buy the flags from GMB. So I'm torn currently. But yes, hello chaps, hello, welcome in. Ugh. I was thinking about the heat. If it was going to be too hot, I wasn't going to do a full stream, but I think we're going to be okay. But unfortunately, with heat comes tiredness with me. So, I mean, I've done a bit of running around today. Done a bit of running around. Tim, been working on my Rebellion miniatures. Almost done with the regiment. I've seen, mate. I've seen your posts. They look great. General Michael, hello, welcome in. David, I feel hydrated. Try wine. I've never been a wine fan, David. I'll admit it. I've never been hooked on it. I'm sure that will change. My brother says people don't like wine, they've just not found one they've liked yet, sort of thing, or something to that. A wise person, something along those lines. So I think it's just, yeah, I've just not quite found the one I like. We obviously we're painting up the 26th of North Carolina, before I forget. So we've got this chap here, which we painted up in our previous stream. So this is our officer, and he's gonna. This is what this regiment's gonna be about. So we, I'm just gonna roll with it. I think. I'm thinking of maybe favouring grey uniform over the butternuts and stuff. I think it would probably primarily grey. So we're going to see how that goes. John's working on some 28mm Romano British from Victrix. Very nice. Thomas, just about to start the 3rd Union Horse Holder of the day. Also done some assorted officers for cavalry and artillery and some Louisiana flags and officers. Very nice. Yeah, I need to get a few more artillery officers done. I've got a few artillery flags for the Union, so and again, as I'm using commands as just a way of getting more flags on the table. If I've got the flags there, it makes sense to try to use them. So, a nice little brush. This one might do. But yeah, I hope everyone's you British lot are surviving. And any of you English fans, I hope you're English football fans. I hope you're recovering. Even you English rugby fans. I don't know if the English rugby it was such a thing to celebrate, but it still feels good getting a win. David, I stopped painting green on bases halfway through the Beowulf's Austrians. Apologies for the pronunciations. Got bored, turned to the bottle mid batch. Oh well, that's yeah. I assume you're not going to be continuing on then. Now you've hit the relax juice. It's is that the painting written off now? Good evening all. Mikey Blake, welcome in. England flag football, yes. I assume you are a fan, and I assumed you watched the game. I mean, I'm not a football. I'm not a football fan. You know, I don't really watch football, but I did have the England game on yesterday. Whilst I was doing my hobbying, so had bits of it. I should have said at the moment I'm just going to start off with flesh tones on these chaps. And then for that we are using contrast paints. Guilliman Flesh. Thomas is trying to get as much done as possible as I'm having to get into the final wedding prep for my sister on Tuesday. That's cool, mate. Have you got any important role in this in the day, or are you just there for the social? Putting on my Hayes and Starks Louisiana's until more rebellion putting on hold. Yeah, before rebellion miniature more rebellion miniatures are ordered. Cool. How are you liking the rebellion miniatures, Tim? You're working on some as well. How are you enjoying painting them? Obviously, I painted the two officers, but they were very different. They were different materials. One being resin 3D printed, and the other one being a resin cast. So noticeable different in details. Mike Blake says, football fan through and through at the Saints. Are you on about American football, Mikey? I thought for a second you meant the Saints with rugby in the UK. Northampton Saints, but I don't think you'd be bringing them up as we're talking about football. Gives everyone an excuse to be patriotic, doesn't it? So Hmm. Tim says, yesterday I was watching the England match when I had a call through my front porch security cam just as England scored and screamed so all my neighbours could hear. The caller looked stunned. Yeah, so I was away from the TV when England scored their first goal, but just heard the entire neighbourhood erupt in cheers, so I knew what would happen. I know. So some of these arms I'm using are from Perry Miniatures, not these chaps. But yeah, it feels odd painting these Perry arms again. It seems to have been a very long time since I last painted Perry plastics. It might not be that long. I just can't remember it. Because I know we painted a lot of Warlord stuff and a few sort of Perry metals. Right. Um, they said both good and stoked in the Indy T20. Plus, I'm a long time Ferrari fan who's buzzing to see Leclerc with the Grand Prix. Win the Grand Prix, sorry. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of the Formula One, but a lot of my family and my neighbours really like it, so I kind of know some of it through association. Thomas, I am doing a reading, but other than that, I'm going for drinks. Oh, going for the drinks. So you're doing a bit of a reading at the wedding then, and then it's drink time. Fair enough. Thomas says, I'm loving the Rebellion miniatures. Lovely painting experience. We'll be buying more when the next bonus from work. Nice. Tim says, I love painting them, referring to Rebellion miniatures. And the kit bashing is great. I'm in the middle of cutting the puddles off and adding the magnets. Ah, yeah, of course, your magnet bases. Yeah, I'm excited to get into painting them. I know I've just started and now I'm chatting, but they appear to be a nice crisp detail on them. So Mike Blake says Southampton Football Club is your preference. For the NFL, you follow the Chicago Bears. Nice. I used to be a big fan of Washington Redskins when they used to be named that. Now they're the Washington Commanders. Is that right? I know Trump wanted them to rename to the Redskins, but I don't know if that ever happened. Uh, that was a long time ago, obviously. David, we'll probably be doing some more green on the bases later. It's only a block colour, big brushes only. Triple O. The details get 10 out of 0. Oh, I assume you mean brushes. 10, 0, yeah. Gerald Michael, I haven't said much, but I'm painting some old Glory Pennsylvania bucktails. Very nice, mate. Enjoy. Enjoy. I did some bucktails a long time ago, but obviously do one and that's it. I use the heads from Steve Barber Miniatures. I think it's a UK based company, but he does a mixture of sort of sculpted heads and stuff. So I used him for my bucktails. I just put them on Perry Plastics bodies. And my I don't know now. It's either my 55th Massachusetts or my first South Carolina contraband regiment, or whatever they're called. It's either one of them that had Steve Barber United States Colored Troops sculpted heads as well. Ah. Right, what have I just dropped? This. Tom says, good thing my group cancelled the game night on Friday. Ended up being 28 Celsius. Ended up with a few pints. Did talk hobby, but mostly had a skinful. I mean, that sounds as good as a game night, if I'm honest. Nice one. Sometimes it's still getting together with your mates, isn't it? Even if you're just going to grab a pint. Worked out well then, mate. I can't think what I did Friday night now. Nothing, I think. Honestly, can't remember. It might have been actually doing some of them basing on my command groups. Might have been. I never used to paint the skin first. I used to leave it to the ends, but something quite satisfying doing the skin first. Davey says I was a Redskins fan too. Drop the whole woke replacements. Yeah, I haven't. I don't really follow them anymore. To be honest, I've got a lot more into Premiership rugby over here, so that's kind of taken my, I don't need any other sports. That takes a lot of my focus. General Michael, other than the Bucktails, I started a new project, Napoleon's Grand Army. Nice. Have you chosen a period for it? Do you know sort of what time frame you're going on? Like my French based around 1812 Moscow campaign. Just because I wanted to give myself an excuse to do snow bases. Thomas, I did resolve my Rebel Cavalry flag conundrum. Use GMB's 15mm range close to the size of the cavalry gurdons. Oh yeah, good idea. Good idea. I feel like I've heard that before. I know there's no help telling you now, but it rings a bell you saying that. David said Sunday afternoon was beer intensive. A local micropub has moved to a bigger premises. Saturday was the grand opening. 9 different real ales to try. You're spoilt for choice then. Blimey. There's enough ales to have 2 each then. Is that what you're saying, David? It's just random you go with, Michael, then. Just whatever takes your fancy with Napoleon's Grand Army. I like to have a sort of a scenario or a theme in my head, just because then it gives me an idea of what I want to paint up or work towards, you know. As I said before, I quite like doing historical formations in my collection, so and again, it gives you a bit of guidance of if you're not sure what to do, you can have a look at some historic notes and then be like, ah. How about that with, like, not sure what uniforms to paint, but like French cavalry, for example. So then I just look at the historic thing, and for example, with the 1812 campaign, I think there's only a handful of hussar regiments that took part. So, Thomas says, can't decide if I should do Louisiana state flags as well as the rebel flag for Hayes and Starks. Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of gone just the Confederate battle flag for a lot of my stuff, like the Northern Virginia battle flag. Because I just don't know how common it was for Confederates to use state flags. My assumption would be they did early war, and then late war or mid to late they adopted the army flag. Dave says a period for Napoleonics, 1796 to 1815. Surely that's my project in chronological order. Yeah, okay, keep you busy for a bit, David. Keep you busy for a bit, that's sure. Thomas says my Napoleonics are based on the Fuentes de Onorno in 1811 for both my French and British armies. Very nice. Yeah, I think it helps with just a bit of guidance on where to take the project, I think, sometimes. And sometimes it can give you sort of some ideas that you never really thought of, but actually quite fun. Thomas, sorry, David says if you're not sure, go 6 mil and do everything. Yeah, that's an answer. That's the problem with the larger scales. It can restrict. It restricts you regardless, even if you've got unlimited money and whatnot. It's only so big a table can go and be playable. So. Thomas says your Mag Civil War are based on Antietam. Yeah, very nice. Another big battle. Yeah, I mean, I started doing. I think when I did Hood's Brigade, I kind of got it in my head. Oh, actually, it'd be nice to do because I'm a Longstreet a fan of Longstreet. I thought, oh, maybe I could look at doing his sort of core, which I know is a bit of a big project, but yeah, I kind of did Hood's well, the Texas Brigade I'd done, and then I think I was working my way through Hood's division. And the idea of having Longstreet as the corps commander. And then that's kind of tippled into my union where I was a bit lost to what to do with my union. And then I started doing a few cavalry, dismounted cavalry, and then obviously the film Gettysburg. You got Buford, who's a real cool cucumber, and then the likes of Reynolds. So that's where I've kind of gone with my union. Gone into sort of first corps. Texas Brigade generally flew the Lone Star flag. I think for the Texas Brigade, I've gone sort of what some of the flag companies have recommended. So I think a lot of mine have 2 flags. I'm pretty sure Lane's North Carolina Brigade had designated state flag bearers. I mean, it sounds like definitely something they would do. Again, to me, I think rule of cool. If you want them in the, if you just want the flags on the table, then put them in. Why I did my 10th Tennessee, because I just wanted a cool flag for the Confederates. Rule of cool. I mean, if I was looking it up and it said at no point in the war did they use, state flags, then I think I might not necessarily use it, but if we know they did at points, then yes, I'll chuck it now. A bit of fun. Thomas says, I know the 6th carried a state flag. and battle flags, as some companies even have their own flags in some Louisiana regiments. Well, yeah, I guess some little research along the way. Some of my, so these, a lot of these regiments I'm doing now, where I'm like, for example, this one, the 26th North Carolina. I'm going to paint it up that way, and I'll have a look at the flag, but I might just use a generic Army of Northern Virginia battle flag, unless it specifically states they use something different. But a lot of these regiments will be used as other regiments in games anyway, so I'm less fussed about them being smack on. David says, do Sickles' third corps on July 3rd. Less models to paint. Yeah. Or Pickett's division. Paint up Pickett's division just after the charge. But sir, I have no division. Honestly, you should do Hancock's second corps and Caldwell's division on July 2nd, which you call Kershaw out of the wheat field. I think I've said that I wanted to do Hancock before, actually, but I'm just a bit torn because I know I want to buy 5th Corps flags. I'm like, do I just prioritize? And then I really want to do 11th Corps. The Flying Germans, or whatever they're called. Is that 11th Corps? I've got that right on there. Quite like to do them. I mean, I don't mind really, because I really like how all the core flags look anyway. So I've got, what was it, core division. So I've got 4 first core flags already on the table through some HQs. So change it up a bit, put a couple of other cores in there. Dave says, don't forget, Union troops also flew core flags. Yeah, a lot of my HQs and stuff, I'm just using their core flags. Mainly because I like the look of them. And they're a good way to identify the HQ anyway. Again, we're all cool. Thomas says the Flying Dutchman. Tim says the Flying Dutchman. But Dutchman means German. Yeah, the Flying Dutchmans. So yeah, I would quite like to do them up because again that leans into my first core as well, and how with my Confederates I'm building Heath's division, so I could potentially have all the models to actually just do the first day at Gettysburg, which would be cool. As in enough models representing the regiments. We'll see. I think I I contacted one of the owners of Rebellion Miniatures after last stream, purely asking about um the sculptor of Buford and his staff, which I assumed it was Talos Miniatures last stream, but they were very much like, no, it wasn't me. So I'll have to. I probably should have shared it on Facebook, but let me quickly check on my Instagram. So it's called Stavros Sculpts, and he's another Greek sculptor. So if you give him a check out on either Instagram or I think on Facebook, but Stavros Sculpts, that's the chap who sculpted Buford. David said, but that means if you use core flags, 28mm minis are big enough for visible core patches on individual soldiers. Far more important historically. Yeah. Now, a lot of them don't have... I've seen people paint them on the caps, on top of the caps, put little dots on there and stuff, but not for me. Not for me. Thomas says, my cavalry are the only non-historical brigade I own, because it's a brigade, 2 core, escort cavalry, and some unattached cavalry in a single brigade. Fair enough. I've yet to do a cavalry brigade, so I think I would have to possibly do Custer's Wolverines, just because it's Custer. And then as for Confederates, I think Jeb as a command. I do have a Nathan Bedford Forrest miniature printed out, 3D printed from Studio Historia, so maybe something to do with that. I don't know. I don't know. Right. We've got somewhere. They're all their faces and hands are painted. So, what I think I'm going to do is do some blue trousers, sky blue trousers, some sort of federal trousers, because I just really like them. I really like that blue in the grey. It's a nice look. So I think I'm going to do basically... I think... What's everyone thinking? Actually, I'll ask you guys. I think I'm just going to go all grey with everything. With some blue trousers chucked in. Now, some of these chaps are in shirts, not jackets, but where the jackets come in, I think I'll do grey. But let me know what you think. Right, so we're going to do some sky blue trousers. I'm using Caribbean Ocean from Army Painter Speed Paint. It's quite bright, but I just like the look of it. I think historically, I don't know. It's so hard to know uniforms because different depots did different stuff. Anyway, right, let's start painting this guy. Let's give... This chap can have blue trousers. But yeah, I just like the look of this blue, so that's why I like using it. Which I think is important. Use what you like using. This guy's got a shirt. This guy's wearing a shirt. There you go. Now the camera's not doing it enough. Yeah. I'm just gonna dangle in a couple of blue trousers here and there. Again, it's because I like it. Oh, I've made a mistake. Not really, but I've just remembered that some of these chaps have bare feet, so I need to be doing some more flesh colours. We'll get back to that. Guy with trousers. It's got a patch on there. I wonder what colour to do the patch. Right. Another set of blue trousers. David says cavalry brigades were generally either part of a cavalry corps or attached to infantry corps, command and assigned to divisions as required on an ad hoc basis. Yeah, I've got some corps command flags for like the likes of Buford. So, but yeah, I haven't got any brigade flags really. Again, I've said before, like I really like flags on the table, so I'm gonna try find as many ways as getting them on there. And one way is through commands. So I like, especially with the Union, with stuff like core commands and stuff. There's just some really interesting flags there. So I get with the Confederacy, if you're just going to use Army of Northern Virginia for everything, might get a bit samey. But it's nice to break that up with some Union flags on the table. So that's my thinking behind it. Thomas says, for my Confederate cavalry, thinking of Cobb's Georgia Legion cavalry. Yes, and Jeff Davis Legion from Mississippi and Alabama, who are very stylish. If you check your page, I've sent a view of the uniform. I've received it, Thomas. Let's check it out. Tim says one model has no shoes and a couple have a toe opening on the shoe. Yeah, I've just clocked them, Tim. We've got them. Yeah, they're very nice and stylish, Thomas. They're quite nice. A nice colour blue as well. Yeah, have a bit of fun with it, isn't it? That's why getting sort of out there units can be enjoyable. Something a bit different. A bit like when I did the 1st Virginia Cavalry and having the black detailing on them, like the black piping was nice. Right, maybe a couple more with blue trousers. And then we'll move on. Again, I just like the blue, so this is personal preference over historical accuracy. Alright. Do I add another person in or not? Yeah, let's add a couple more. Sod it. Sod it. Sod it. Let's have fun with it. And then I'll go and do these guys with bare feet. The only thing is, if I do pick up some 5th Corps flags from Flags of War, I might have a look and see if they do 26th Carolina, 26th North Carolina. Let's see if they do them. Bingo. Oh, it's getting warm again. David says 6 mil, 1 or 2 flags every 25 minutes approximately. There are about 40 flags on my games mill table. Very nice. Yeah, it's just nice on the table, isn't it? I think can look nice. All right, back to the flesh colours. Let's get these people's feet painted. It's a nice touch having the bare feet. There you go. Couple of bare feet. Flags of War do the 26th North Carolina. There you go then. I'll just grab that then rather than worrying about what to do. More about this here. Oh, Thomas might have this last horse holder painted but not based by the end of the stream. Nice. Making good progress then. Ian, Flags of War will do anything if you send him enough whiskey tokens. Here's my rabbit hole I've been going down all last week. We've spoken about it before on the stream, but it's the Trent Affair. So it's potential British involvement in the American Civil War. So I'm piecing together information on it, sort of like what British troops and stuff would have been stationed at Canada or were stationed at Canada and therefore could have potentially played a role in it. And then I'm thinking of doing the British flags for it, and I've been looking at the Crimean flags because I think they're close enough in sort of time period for them to be maybe accurate. So rather than straight up asking him to do custom flags, which I think Thomas just said he did ask Flags of War to do some American Civil War flags, but he said he didn't customs. There we go. Maybe you got to be best mates with him, and then he might let that one slip. I don't know the guy, so I don't fit in that category, unfortunately. But yeah, with my Trent Affair, I think I could get away with some of the Crimean flags, and I had a quick look, and there's 3 or 4 battalions that I want, which they do in the Crimean. The only thing is, which some of you guys might know actually, is when it came to the British and their first and second battalions, did they carry the King's colours, the second battalions, for example, or was it only, like, for example, the firsts? So yeah. Thomas, for the Canadian militia flags, flags of war have an 1866 Fenian raids into Canada, so you're sorted there. Ah, Thomas, I did have a look on that, and I only saw Irish flags. Otherwise, yeah, bingo. Canadian militia flags as well. I don't know how I would do the Canadian militia. I don't know if I just have them as Canadian militia #1. You know, I don't know. I can't really find. I can find out what numbers were involved in the Canadian militia, but I can't necessarily find out this Canadian. So maybe I just do similar naming conventions to the American Civil War and do sort of like the first Canadian militia, and then from whatever province. I don't know. Thomas says, "Never mind. No, they don't. I'm thinking of 1798 range. There you go. Yeah, I did. I did have a look at the Fenian one because yeah. So this is in my research. I've been looking at it's sort of between the Trent Affair and the Fenian raids. Because then, if there's troops stationed in Canada during the Fenian raids, then there's a good chance they were stationed there earlier, which means they would have been about for any sort of Trent Affair nonsense. So yeah, it's actually been fun to research it. It has been fun. Right. So this guy's wearing a shirt, so he won't have... I don't know if this is the brush for this. No. I don't like that brush either. These are my brushes. But yeah, I do need to try look at the Irish militia and what they would... Because yeah, I'm not sure what militias existed. Could I just treat them a bit like the American voluntary infantry of the American Civil War and just have the Canadian militia from a certain province and do it that way? Or just have them named the first, second, third, like, you know, Canadian militia. I don't know how the British did it. But yeah, I found sort of what British regulars, where they, like, sort of which ones were stationed around there. I'll be real neat on these because the neater I am now, the less work I have when sort of coming to an end of it. Like painting the white tankard straps, I can kind of avoid that by not having to paint them because the primer's done that for me, as long as I don't overdo it. I'm brushing now, so I'm trying to be... But then also I want a big enough brush so I can get the paint on and not have to do a million goes at it. David, I'm considering the practicality of taking the Gaines Mill game to Fiasco and Leeds in October. Ooh. What's your I mean, it appears quite a stable table. Is it just a matter of transportation? Detailing on this so far has been very crisp. Thomas says, from my research into the Fenian, or Fenian, sorry, I said Fenian raid, it was the Canadian militia were called something like the 2nd Battalion Volunteers Militia Rifles of Canada. Yeah, so I know you've got the Royal Rifles, which were quite a big militia at the time, but yeah, maybe that I'll have to look into the naming conventions then. Have a bit of a research on it. Cash accommodation and rail schedules need sorting out, says David. Yeah, don't push it, mate. If it's not going to work out, it ain't going to work out. But it'd be cool. It would be cool if you could do it. Yeah, it ain't going to work out. I need to figure out what colour shirts I'm going to do on some of these guys. I normally do generic grey, white and red, but it'd be nice to maybe do something a bit different. It's looking good. Hmm. Should definitely be able to do a Wagner attack in York early next year, though. It's closer. I've heard good things about that show. It's one of the big ones, isn't it? Cool. Give him a grey cappy. I'm sort of cheating by just doing these guys mostly in grey. So it just means it's going to be a real quick paint job. But it gives them a bit of uniformity, which is always nice. These guys, coupling shirts there. Right there. And then these cap. Do you know the 1839 field cap, or whatever we determined it was called? What colour should I do then, do you reckon? Oh, this guy's got bare feet and I've missed him. Anyhow. The wheel caps, as we were referring to them last live stream. Should I just paint them black? I know people tend to sort of paint them in a selection of colours. That's the thing. I know they're used in the Mexican American War, but I'm wondering if sort of militias pick them up, and that's where you might have different colours come in. Different militia companies and might choose their own uniform look. Prussian blue, says Tim, for the caps. Tim says they were leftovers from the Mexican-American War. But you can paint them various colours, I did. Maybe I'll dot a few blue in there then, Tim. Maybe I'll dot a few blue in them. David says, Matt, have you ever thought about doing a show game? I have. I've thought a lot about it, actually. Especially when they do sort of quite often do Lardy days near mine, where I live. And they're quite easy to get involved in and do games for. So if I were to do it, it would be that. It's just doing it. I think once I've sorted my collection out a bit better, I'm basically there now. I've said before, like a lot of holding me back was having the miniatures to be able to play a game. Those miniatures mainly being command groups. Whereas I've done so many recently, so I think I'd be quite keen to do the destruction of First Corps scenario. That would be quite fun. Have sort of dismounted cavalry, and then the Confederates have to maybe push them off. Because like the format of the Lardy days, they'll do a morning game and a second afternoon game, and some people will tend to add a bit of a narrative to their games. They'll have the first game influence how the second game's played. So, for example, I could do the morning of the first day at Gettysburg, where it's sort of cavalry having to hold back the Confederates, and then that could kind of bleed into the second game where maybe First Corps arrive, and then how well the US cavalry did in the first game change how the perhaps like the Confederates could get a forward deployment if they done really well in the morning, something like that. So not game breaking, but just something to change it up a bit. It could be quite cool. But yeah. Something I need to do, and just as just to say I've sort of done it, because I know I'll enjoy myself. Maybe quite a cool thing. I need a finer brush just for this. Are you far from the Beachhead show? I'm told it's a good one, says David. I can't remember where Beachhead is, to be honest, but I'm based in Bristol, so yeah, I'm not sure where Beachhead is. I know we've spoken about it before on here, but I've got a memory like a goldfish, so. This drums worked out well, this sort of kit bash drummer I did. Actually looks good. You think it's pooled? I'm not entirely sure where that is in relation to me. I can have a look at some point. Right. Hmm. Well, I'm really enjoying painting these so far, which is good. This could be an advertisement for Rebellion Miniatures, and there we go. Sweet. Let's do it. Again, I'm going to try to do as many grey as I can, because that's the flavour of Confederate we're going for. I think the last big batch of sort of Confederates I did a lot of button up, so good to balance that back out, I think, with some grey. This is quite a cool one. He's got like a sculpted shirt, which is sort of open at the bottom. A bit of colour poke through. Cool. It's in Bournemouth. Have I ever been to Bournemouth before? I have, actually. I went there on a little mini weekend away with my wife. Was it Bournemouth? Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. I didn't go at the round of at the time of Beachhead, though, I'm afraid. I think it's around Christmas time, actually. So yeah, I've got to figure out my shirt colours, because maybe we make an effort to paint some actual shirts. So maybe go with some creams and add some checkered in there or something. Who knows? I can't remember if I watched this film since we last met, or maybe before last stream, but I watched The Last Samurai the other day. It's a good bit of fun, isn't it? I can't remember if I mentioned it on the last stream or not. I can't honestly remember when I watched it, but it was recent. Yeah, bit of a slight splash of American era-y. I think it's set in the 1890s or 1870s. There's a reference to the American Civil War in it, and they're wearing very similar uniforms. So, but no, it's an enjoyable film. Of course, the main guy in it, Monsieur Tom Cruise, was a In the film, he's a hero of Gettysburg or something like that. Referred to. He was in Custer's Cavalry, Battle of Bighorn. I think for my Custer miniature, I might use the Salute limited edition miniature. Paint that up as Custer. In fact, I might already have done that. I can't remember. Let's do this last strip. David says, got mixed up with the big gaming store in Poole in Toyman. Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Thomas says, I've been wanting that Salute figure to paint as General Mahar. So, seen someone else do it. And I liked it. So, yeah, I bought one on eBay a while back. And then I bought a collection off someone and they had one. So, I technically got two. So, I'm gonna, one's going to be a Confederate. I think I've already painted them up, to be honest. Can't remember. Definitely painted one up. I think it's a Confederate. They're lovely skulls. Lovely. I haven't checked in a while, but for years I've been checking. They always crop up on eBay. Yeah, I think the one I bought, admittedly it was a long time ago, but I think I only paid about £12 for it. Hello, Soraya, welcome in. How are you? I hope you are well. I hope you're surviving the heat. I'm surviving it about okay. My wife, on the other hand, absolutely not. She is struggling. I'm alright, thanks. Had a busy weekend, but surviving nonetheless. How's your weekend been? How has your weekend been? But yes, I've had a fairly busy weekend. I met with old Thirama this morning, for a bit of a catch up, and then went and saw my dad yesterday for a barbecue, and then had another barbecue today. So I don't know. It's been busy, but I'm not making it sound very busy. I don't know whether it's just the heat as well, just kind of puts me off doing stuff. But yeah, I don't know whether I just want to do less in this heat. So anything, any sort of slight work just feels a lot more. David, Captain Custer at Little Bighorn, Brigadier General Custer at Gettysburg. I thought you was a Lieutenant Colonel at Bighorn, Little Bighorn. Oh, so it actually is Custer then, the salute model. I mean, it looks a pretty dashing figure. So yeah, maybe it is, mate. Sounds blimmin' lovely, says Ra. Yeah, it's been all right. I mustn't grumble. It's been all right. I didn't get a couple of jobs done this weekend, but I guess it's next weekend's problem now. Yeah, and then it's getting ready for the big push tomorrow, the big work. As always, we cross that bridge. I'll worry about work when I wake up tomorrow morning. Yeah, Thomas says Brigadier General Custer. Also, it'd be Lieutenant Colonel Custer. Captain Custer is his brothers. Yeah, I'm sure because I always remember thinking, yeah, Lieutenant Colonel, and because I think I watched a podcast once and they made a comment about how, yeah, he went from a brigade command down to a lieutenant colonel. Must have hit his ego a bit, enough to perhaps doing something a little foolish at a Little Bighorn. Who knows? David, my mistake. 2 wine bottles. He was the field commander of the 7th. Your hydration is important, David. So carry on, please. Yeah, I probably ought to paint up Custer. Custer and his Wolverines. It'd be a good scenario to play as well. Is it East Cavalry Field they call it or something like that? At Gettysburg. He went from Major General down to a Lieutenant Colonel. Bloody hell, I didn't realise he made it to Major. Actually, yeah, it rings a bell now. But yeah, that is a bit of a shock to the system, isn't it? Just goes to show, though, isn't it? The volunteer army. I can actually feel my fan tonight. Normally, it's just so warm that it just don't really make a difference. But Right, a lot of grey-clad soldiers here. We're getting somewhere. He was still paid as a major general. Ah, very nice. David, yeah, East Cavalry Field when Stuart finally showed up. Hey, he was busy stroking his own ego. So here we go. Something. We've got some skin and half the uniforms nearly done. Maybe. Maybe. Surprising how much time it takes sometimes. Especially when we're having a pleasant chat as well. I'm gonna paint these guys' feet, and then might quickly put a splash of flesh colour on those exposed toes as well in the boots. Because if you actually look at them, they are sculpted toes. So let's do it. Otherwise, I'd have just said it's a sock. That's that guy's feet done. Any split boots around here? Yeah, I want. 2, 3. See if there's any more around here. Any exposed toes? Awesome. Well, I've got to do these guys. I know. Just this guy's hat. They're not painted yet. Let's do a grey hat for this chap. David, it takes 0 hours to do Stuart's cavalry for day 1 at Gettysburg. Do that next. Yeah. Very good point. That'd be a quick project. That'd be a good entry to a painting competition. Just do Stuart's corps on the first day of Gettysburg and just have an empty shelf or whatever. Might be on the summit. You might be something on the summit there. There's only one important cavalry on the first day, and that's Buford. We can't have these two cool dudes on doing the same thing, can we? I do like in the film how he just, Martin Sheen just scolds, or I say Martin Sheen generally scolds Jeb Stewart for it. Just bases. Oh, yeah, that's true. Just do a bunch of bases. Yeah, but then you'd have to do like a whole cavalry corps of bases. Or just do Lee with his arms crossed looking really grumpy. Could do that. Right, we are now going to jump out and check out communities. It's that time of stream. Not long left. We're going to check out what you've all been up to. I'm going to refresh the pages in case any of you uploaded stuff whilst we were streaming. It's happened in the past. It has happened in the past. Bum bum bada bum bum bum. I can't remember how I did this last time. Like viewing the Facebook thing. Right. Let me swap over so you're not just seeing me chat nonsense. Anyway, Facebook. No, it's not about discussion. Nope. I don't know how I sort it, so I only see the newest stuff. Oh, Thomas just gluing down the last Union horse holder now. What perfect time. I guess we just have to go off. It's sort of annoying because I want to be able to see the most recent stuff. Maybe we just do this. No, maybe not. I don't want highlights. Anyway, we'll just have to do the old-fashioned way. Alright, 6 days ago. These are my photos from the stream. So this is our... David said I sent mine early, does the Muttley snicker and demands a medal. You've got the medal of... eagerness. There you go. I was going to say prematurity or whatever. Whatever way you would do that, but we don't need that. Let no one suffer with that. Right. Here's what we have just been painting, if you can believe it. These chaps are really nice. I know I've been looking at this, but it's nice to see them up large on a screen. Yeah, they are full of carrots, aren't they? These could maybe these would work for 7th Cav. I don't know enough about them. Right, here we go. That was 10 days ago. So we've already looked at these. That's fine. That's me. Probably don't need to look at that. But yeah, that's me. So this was me. I can't remember when. Saturday night. So yeah, basing all the core commands and stuff we've done over the past few months. Finally got the Fire Zoars based up. So I was holding off putting flags on them until I based them. So now that's done, I'm going to chuck all the flags on, which should be cool. And then we've got Lee in the background there. Old Lee in the background, based up, ready to go. Here you go. Back to Tim's Rebellion miniatures. Let's check them out. Oh yeah, you done a bugle hands, nice. Flag bearer, nice. Again, I haven't done that with my one because my commander's got a flag. Nice officer, nice looking officer, cool. So is that a Perry Miniatures officer body, and you've glued a Rebellion Miniatures head on it by the looks of it? Nice, nice. Yeah, real nice mix of colours on that. That's good. Yeah, a couple of red shirts. I might do red. So a few red shirts, perhaps. I'll have to have a play with it. Officer telling his troops what to do. Nice. I like the officers. I like the sword on the shoulder. That's a nice little bit there. Nice on Tim. Very nice. Oh, right, yeah, it's just cycling through everything, I think. Yeah. Nice, though. All the way back to the 5th of July. Are we? Very nice. David has been batch painting. 350. Some nice... Is that horse limbs? Oh, look at it. You can see their little bike horns. That's cool. Very nice. That is quite the batch paint. Thomas said, just posted now after gluing my arm to my desk. Nice. Very nice, David. 350 models. That is a batch paint. Currently in the colour blocking stage, after all the main blocks of colour have been crudely applied. These areas are tidied, then details like equipment pouches, brass plates, belts, regimental colours, bayonets, etc. are picked out. Then washes, basing, varnishing, and hey presto. I don't know, is that Bowlees? No, how would you pronounce that? Bolu? Austrians are ready to face Napoleon's French. Just thought I'd give you an idea of what batch painting means when I use the term, and just how crappy half painting minis look. Picture back of 6mm in the process of being made, table ready. Very nice, mate. No, batch painting is obviously on your scale is a lot more minis. But I've done it. I think the most I've done is about 120, 130 in one go. And it was a painful slog. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, with when you're batch painting just block colouring, it can be quite disheartening, because, like, from my experience of batch painting, it just doesn't look very good when you're just doing the basic block colours. It's once you start to really round them off, it really comes together and looks nice. It's the same with me using contrast paints these days. I just never entirely sold them on them until the miniature's done, and then I'm like, oh no, that looks nice. It's like this grey, but so I didn't say earlier, but I'm using Basilicanum grey for these chaps. I'm just when I paint this grey, it's not like a white black grey. It's almost like a browny grey, and I'm just like, oh, I just don't know if I like it. But then actually, by the time I finish, I'm like, actually no, I do like it. But yeah, that's me again. Oh god, I'm tired today. All like that. Here we go from Thomas. We've seen this because that was on the 5th. Here's some stuff from Thomas an hour ago. A few dismounted cavalry. Oh, this Perry miniature I've just done for what I showed you earlier, my Studio Historia regiment I painted up. I'm using that command figure for them because it's quite a nice figure. Here they are, the metal commands, or metal flag bearers. There we go. Some Louisiana flag bearers, very nice. Here's an officer on horse, and here's the project. I assume that's what that photo is showing, is the paint table, very nice, and some horse holders, very good. Yeah, I need to get on and do some horse holders, if I'm honest. And it's like he's on a road, very good, Thomas. What size, oh, sorry, I'm just yawning so much now. What size bases are you using for your horse holders? Interested to know. I know some of the Studio Historia stuff I bought, they have horse holders in them. So yeah, I need to look at maybe printing them. Yeah, that's the paint table of your cavalry, says Thomas. That's the paint table. What's on there? And they're on 90mm bases. Nice. That's quite big. Quite a big base. But I mean, you've got these. So how many horses do you get in the pack, Thomas? Is it 2 or 3? Because I know one of them's got 2 on there, and the other one looks like it had 3 on there, I think. Right, let's refresh this, because Thomas said he sent something through. Where it's just like, here we go. Some more command. Very good. So yeah, they must come with 3 horses then, I assume. So yeah, I get what you say. Yeah, 90mm base, you're going to struggle to get it on anything smaller, aren't you? Very nice. Very good. Right. I don't think we've missed anything from people. I'm going to check out the YouTube community. Boom. Let's do that. Let's go on newest. This is what I need for Facebook, just so I can look at the newest posts. And I think this is all from General Michael. Normally is, and Alexander can post up here, but yeah, I think we saw this last time, which is the 5th New York. and some Louisiana Tigers. Yeah, so we did look last time, but yeah, very nice. Yeah, very good. Tom says one pack has 2, the Union horse holder in a sack coat, and the other in a shell jacket has 3 horses. Was going to add a small fence, but ran out of room. I was looking at adding a small fence on the base for my Buford command and have them sort of like behind a fence, but yeah, I also didn't have the room on the base, so I didn't go there. If the washers, Dave is saying, it's the washers that do it at 6mm. It brings the sculptors amazing work, especially fantastic considering that it's sculpted by hand out of green stuff at 6mm. Simply astounding work. Yeah, the washers. Yeah, I get that at that scale. Probably the washers would really pull them in. I'm going to quickly chuck a wash on these rocks. Actually, you can't see it, so let's jump back. I'm going to chuck some washers on these rocks whilst I've got 5 minutes before we end the stream. We need a nice big brush. Let's go for that one. No. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting these sort of done. These signal bases, because it will add just a nice little something to have on the table. So maybe if I should have done an Agrax wash on this rather than a black Bombay one. I'll have to get a video up of these chaps, these signal cores, when we're done. On. So just add a bit of depth to it before I start dry brushing, I think. Plan. It might be a waste of time, but we might as well do it. Tried to put little rocks on this base as well, and it's just failed miserably. The glue I used just didn't really hold any of it on. Lesson learned, I guess. Cool. I need a lead balloon. We can work on it. Maybe I just do a signals balloon and just call it lead. I can't remember what is the famous signal balloon. It's got a name, doesn't it? USS something. Right, that's that one done. Oh, painting rocks. Looks exciting. Oh, that's done. The Intrepid. Thank you, Thomas. I thought I remembered it. I just couldn't quite. But yeah, check it out. Some stones. And hopefully, maybe in the week, I'll get these bases finished, and then I'll be able to show off the Signal Corps, or Signal Teams, and Strong Vincent next stream. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream there because we are at the time. And I'm a bit tired. I'm going to get in bed, I think. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone watching. As always, a massive thanks to everyone watching this live. We have had the usual suspects, but I'll name you anyway. Thomas, Mark, David, John Clark, Tim, General Mike, Mikey Blake as well. I don't want to miss anyone now. Oh no. Soraya we've had in as well. I don't think I'm going to miss anyone. I've said Thomas, I've said Tim, I've said David, I've said Mikey Blake, I've said Robert. Was it Robert? No, John Clark, sorry. Right, I'm going to make an assumption I've got everyone. So thank you so much for you guys watching this live. Massive thanks to everyone watching this back on YouTube as well. I appreciate it. Big thanks to all the channel supporters, Mark, Thomas, for donating to the channel. I really appreciate it. And Rebellion Miniatures for sending me this these miniatures that we're painting. So big thanks to that. And as always, if you want to catch out what we've been doing previous streams, we have the playlist. Big American Civil War Sunday streams. And again, if you want to look at supporting me and the channel, there's links in the descriptions if you want to check them out. As always, chaps, thank you so much. Have a wonderful end to your Sunday. Have a wonderful week going forward. Hopefully it's not too hot for us over in Blighty. And I'll see you all next weekend. Good night. Bye-bye. Not that one. That one.